Time once again for that lowest rated of all podcasts, the Solid Signal podcast. Okay, I joke, there are probably lower rated podcasts, but I'd say that my data indicates there are about 1,000 of you who listen every week, which I personally think is kind of neat, but on the other hand, it's unfortunately pales in comparison to people talking about reality television, which is another whole thing. The subject of this week's podcast, poorly listened to as it may be, is how are blackouts still a thing? I'm talking, of course, about channel blackouts. When, for example, a local channel owner and a service provider like DirecTV or Dish cannot come to an agreement, and as a result, the channel is pulled off the local lineup and everybody suffers. It increases customer service costs for the pay TV provider. It lowers advertising revenues for the station owner, and of course, the average person doesn't like it a whole lot either because they don't get to see their favorite TV shows. Yet, channel blackouts continue to happen, and as a matter of fact, sometimes they go on for a very long time. Dish is especially well known for having channel blackouts that go into months, and in some cases, almost a year. And in one specific case, pretty much indefinite. You know, this is the kind of thing that just frustrates people, lowers satisfaction levels with pay TV, and I have to say will eventually probably be one of the things that causes the undoing of the pay TV industry if it's not appropriately addressed. And since I like the pay TV industry, I kind of hope it is appropriately addressed so that that doesn't happen. But there's a second side to this, which is that, pay TV companies and station owners are free to negotiate whatever terms they want, and there is a responsibility on the part of the pay TV company to carry all local channels. That used to be true, but is no longer true. Right now, there's a sort of a strange rule that says that a pay TV company does not have to carry a local channel if the local channel operator chooses to charge for it. The local channel operator can demand that the channel be carried if they're willing to do it at no charge. It's kind of a strange transitional rule that at some point is probably going to get reformed because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But even though we're talking about two private companies that have the right to transact business that the way that they see fit, it hurts a lot of people. And it's unfortunate. I think a lot of people should really get antennas and should make sure that they have access to all the channels that they want, whether they're getting that content over streaming or if they're getting that content over an antenna or any other way that they're choosing to do it, legal or illegal. I think people should be able to watch what they want to watch, especially on TV channels that broadcast over the public airwaves. And remember, the airwaves are owned by the people. Things that are public are, they're for everybody's use. And broadcasters have a license that gives them the opportunity to make money using those public airwaves, but with that comes a responsibility to serve the public trust. Obviously, blacking out your content on one of the more popular pay TV companies and possibly the only pay TV service available, and in some cases, you can't even get the channel over an antenna, that's not serving the public trust. And I have to say, my point of view has evolved numerous times when it comes to the idea of binding arbitration, getting the FCC or some other group involved in arbitrating these kind of disputes, because on the one hand, it does take power away from the pay TV companies, but on the other hand, it takes power away from greedy content providers who haven't embraced the fact that this is not 1955 and they do not own the telecommunications world. The matter of channel blackouts, unfortunately, are going to be solved over time, I have a feeling, by the collapse of these broadcasters. I think sooner or later these local broadcasters will find they have nothing to offer, that they've gutted their local news operations, their sports operations are just a joke compared to what you can get on the internet, and when it comes right down to it, they're just not necessary. There will be a few channels left that will serve the public trust, but unfortunately I think that local channels are going to find, sooner or later, that it's just too expensive to operate that big old transmitter. I thought that was going to happen with the recent FCC reverse auction and repack, but I'm still holding on to my idea that it will happen just a little bit later because the economics of it are still sound. I gotta say, I think any broadcaster who did not fully participate in the repack and the reverse auction in some way, they lost out because they lost out on a lot of money. And most of them are having to move anyway, move their channel assignments. We're going to be talking a lot more about that in the coming months, but in the meantime, if none of your channels are currently blacked out, awesome for you. But now is the time to go and get an antenna. If you receive local broadcasts in your area, a TV antenna will make sure that none of your local channels are ever blacked out. That's it for the Solid Signal podcast this week. I went a little bit long and I apologize. I will talk to you next week with more news, views, and reviews.